Hello, delightful makers. Lynn Christensen with Emerald Falls Quilts here. And in this video, I'm going to talk about the Leprechaun Mini Collage. So this is the pattern for the little leprechaun. He does have some really small pieces. That's the disadvantage of a mini collage. And he will finish on a 10 by 10 piece of fabric. And I just wanted to go over some of the fabrics that I will be using that I have pulled to maybe spark some ideas for you when you make your leprechaun. So I have just this very basic peach. That'll be for the face and the hands. I did have a couple of little rainbows, so I will probably put this somewhere as a motif. I haven't decided, so a lot of times I will pull fabrics and get them ready, and I won't really know which one I want to use until I start building the collage. So I have these two fabrics. This one might look familiar because it's the same as the fire horse, but I want my little guy to have orangish beard and hair. So I will either use this one because I like all those little swirls to be hair. I believe I use this on my mermaid. So you can definitely see I use my scraps when I'm making collage. Or I might use this one. I'm not really sure yet which one will look better with the pattern. Then I have some circles. I'm trying to find something that I think will work well for the buckles. Or like these could be just little gold coins that I sprinkle around as motifs, or maybe put one in his hand. Again, possible buckles here, or these could be buckles. So I have a lot of buckle options. I'm not sure what I'm going to like best. And then if I don't like any of those circles, I have this kind of gold, it's fairy frost, that I can cut the circles to be the buckles. I bought this fabric a long time ago because I was really excited about the idea of making a leprechaun collage. So these are going to be his pants, I believe. And I actually have two pieces of it because then I will possibly also cut out some of these words like Irish, ale. I wish it had Guinness, but I don't see that. But I will probably, like this little stein, I might put that in his hands. So there's a lot of little fun things in here that I can play with. Then, oh, again, another buckle option. I can't decide until I see his clothing, what his buckle needs to be. This right here is from a panel, but this little black gold black strip, that may be the hat band. This I'm envisioning as maybe a vest. This will be his hat. So it's kind of got that gold sparkle. I'm thinking these could be his little stockings. And then this one has all these fun little things. So if I don't like the black and gold for the hat band, I may use this for the hat band. Like I could put this and then the buckle and then this. So there's several different little pieces I could play with. I liked this one also as a possibility for the hat band. So there's a lot of little stripes in here that could be cool for the hat band or for his legs or for lots of different things. I like these little buttons, so I might cut these out and put some little buttons on his vest. This, I'm not really sure what I'm going to use it for. This is all I had. I wish I had a whole flower, but it may just be a motif. Same with this one. This looks like it'd be a really great motif. This is going to be his shirt. Then I have this piece that will probably be for his shoes. And then I have a lot of pieces for the eyes. I originally found that, see right there, the little eye in the center, but right now I only have one. But I'm first going to try out some of these others. So I'm thinking either these green would be good for eyes. And then there's these that would be good for eyes. But those might be a little too big. I'm not sure. Some of these I won't know until I have his face. I had this that actually was found at a scrap bin in a quilt shop. So I'll cut out some of these hats. I'll use one of these little clover to be on his hat. And this, I don't know, I really like this green flower in there. So I might use that in my motifs also. So those are all the pieces of fabric that I currently have pulled for my leprechaun. As I put them together, I may pull more fabrics if things don't come together the way I like. But hopefully that has inspired you for your leprechaun fabrics. All right, so I have finished my little leprechaun. Isn't he cute? And I wanted to share him finished so I could show you what fabrics I did end up using and which ones I chose not to use. So for the little buckles, I did use this fabric where I cut these little pink circles out, and I chose this one for the hair and the beard. I ended up using these little circles for the eyes, so those are his little eyes. And funnily enough, his mouth is the center. You can actually see the piece I cut out. His mouth is actually this centerpiece I cut out of that pink. And I did use the little buttons. They are here. And I used this plaid for the two vest pieces and then for the little cuffs. But one thing that I did not do is I originally had this picked to be the hat band, but it just didn't work. I didn't like it. So I just went with a green that looks like a solid green. It's actually from this piece, and I just cut it out between these different colors. And that is also what I used for the belt. And then for his little stockings, these were his original little stocking pieces. So I think they were supposed to be like that and that or something. But these little stripes, they just were too thick and you didn't get the look of the stripes. So this is the original fabric. So the idea of the little stripy stockings was good, but it just didn't work with as small as these pieces needed to be. So I actually got these from this piece I showed you that had all the different pieces. So the little stockings are actually these two little squares, these two little pieces. Actually, it's these going the other way. So I could have the longer pieces for legs and the stripes could go up and down. So that is my little leprechaun all finished. And now I'm going to press him and just put him on a background and then add all of my little motifs. All right, so here's my little leprechaun, and I chose this yellow fabric for the background. It really seemed to allow him to kind of pop. Plus, I felt like it was just very cheerful and looks like he's jumping in a pot of gold. And I wanted to show first that you don't need a lot of extra motifs with these little collages. So just having these two rainbows is really good. Like, he feels complete. I can finish him off and he's going to be a great little mini quilt for my St. Patrick's Day decor. But I did cut out a few extra motifs, and I do have this little mug that I could put in his hand. And I also, from this fabric, cut out some of the little hats and clover that I could just kind of stick all over the place. I also did cut out, like, I kind of fussy cut his pants so you could see the word Irish on there, but I also cut the word Irish out so I could stick that on there. And then I also have these glasses, and the idea is I could put them kind of down here at the bottom, and this little part would get kind of caught into the seam and it looks like they're coming out. But if you put too many motifs on these little collages, you could lose the motif. And I don't really know if I want my little leprechaun holding on to his tankard, although I guess really it would go that way. If you really want to play, you could cut that little centerpiece out and actually put his little hand in there. Makes me think of like Barbie toys. And I don't know if I like any of those pieces. They feel like a little too much. So I probably will just stick with the two rainbows and these little pieces. I may cut one more little clover to go here, but I'm going to keep him pretty simple because he is the focal point. I don't want a whole lot of other stuff happening. Usually, if you notice my collages, I have a lot of stuff that goes on in the background, but with these little guys, it doesn't really feel necessary. So that is my little leprechaun collage. I hope that you have fun making your leprechaun. You can find the link to the pattern below in the description. And if you're enjoying these collage videos, let me know what else you want to learn about collage. I hope that making this little leprechaun brings you some joy and delight. Now, I want you to go make something beautiful.